Knowledge is good, right? I mean, it's better to be in the know about something than not. Knowledge is power, isn't that what people say? I don't know, I haven't really been outside to talk with people since I got this baby. But even if we all agree that generally speaking knowledge is a good thing, are there instances we could think up where knowledge could produce negative consequences? I mean, let's say your partner is cheating on you. I think we'd all agree that we'd want to know about it, right? But while we're all on the same page here, we can't deny that there is some benefit to not knowing that fact. Ignorance is bliss, am I right? Well, a philosophy that does talk about the benefits of ignorance, or oblivion for a better word, might be Daoism. Hello friends, and welcome to, well shoot, I forgot what the channel's called. I guess being oblivious isn't good in all cases, huh? Today we'll be looking at the Daoist text, the Zhuangzi, and some excerpts regarding oblivion. And no, when we're talking about oblivion, we don't mean this, and we don't mean that. We're talking about being oblivious or forgetting something. I'm using this Livia Cohn translation, which also includes commentary by the author, which I'll also be referring to. The link to the book will be below. So in chapter 24 there's a guy, and even though the book tells me how to pronounce his name, I still don't want to make an ass out of myself by trying. And this guy, he talks about how he evaluates dogs. Let me tell you how I evaluate dogs by their looks. Those are the lowest quality rush for their food, fill up, and stop. They are showing the inherent potency of a wildcat. Those of medium quality seem to be staring into the distance. Those of the highest quality are as if oblivious of who or what they are. Alright, so we got these three dogs here. The one that rushes for food, the one that stares off into the distance, and the one that doesn't know who they are. The author provides their own interpretation of these three dogs as they represent, quote, the dominant ways of being in the world. She thinks the first represents the animalistic, immediate gratification being, maybe described as a hedonist. The second dog represents the artistic and intellectual being, and the last dog represents a state of oblivion of the self and others where the spirit can shine forth unhindered from the mind. So what exactly does this mean regarding doggo number 3? Well, we sometimes have these ideas about who we are, what our self is. Oh me, I'm a construction worker, or I'm a Republican, or even I'm a Daoist. Usually on first dates and all that, the question of what do you do pops up, and for some reason we always respond with our occupation, despite such a broad-sounding question. Now let's be honest here though, there are some benefits to identifying yourself with some group or label. I mean, if you consider yourself a Stoic, you might then be compelled to look more into Stoic philosophy. It gives some structure in your life. But level with me here. If someone, let's say, identifies with some political party and comes across evidence that goes against their ideology, that person's in a bit of a pickle, huh? I mean, do you accept this new evidence that sticks out like a sore thumb in your neatly constructed Lego castle of an ideology? Or do you ignore this evidence, undermining it in some way? It seems like while a perception of self could provide that structure and stability, it also could be inhibiting. Maybe by self-identifying as your job, you're more hesitant to lose or change your occupation. Maybe by self-identifying with a political ideology, you're biased and therefore less open-minded. Imagine how free you'd be unhindered by a label. So this is just one instance where oblivion can be beneficial. You're oblivious as to your self-identification. Therefore, you aren't as restricted by certain biases, actions, and beliefs that come with that identification. But that's not all. There's another mention of the benefits of oblivion in chapter 19. Here we have another guy, this time thankfully unnamed, who is drunk and riding a carriage. Unfortunately, he falls off, but because he's drunk, and I mean super drunk, the situation differs from that of a sober person. He never knew he was riding. He never knew he fell. Life and death, alarm and terror never enter his breast. So he meets peril with no fear. So there's a couple ways to take this. Let's state the obvious here and say this isn't an advocacy of getting blackout drunk. Rather, I think the passage is trying to hone in on the obliviousness involved as it relates to consequences. I think we could all agree that no one can tell the future unless you're Marty McFly. However, that doesn't stop us from making educated estimates about what will happen and then acting accordingly. And let's be real here. These educated estimates are good for the most part. I mean, we have to act in this world and we might as well try to make some reasonable guesses as to what the consequences are to those actions. The problem comes in when we anticipate something terrifying and become fearful as a result. Let's look at a classic scenario, getting your flu shot as a kid. You all know that feeling when the doctor steps out to get the shot. You start getting jittery, you look around in fear, it just isn't pleasant. Do you think it'd be better if you didn't know you were getting a flu shot but still got one? The same result would occur. I mean, you get the shot, but in the latter scenario, you don't have to deal with the distress of fear. But obviously this doesn't apply so well in real world scenarios because we usually have an idea of what's gonna happen. Maybe the takeaway then is to try and remind yourself to embrace more oblivion when it comes to future anticipations. And this doesn't mean to disregard reality. I mean, we all agree that the future is ultimately unpredictable. Crazy, out of nowhere stuff has happened throughout history. But that's just my interpretation, I could be off. And if you think so, let me know in the comments below. And yes, unfortunately that means the end of the video. Sorry for the short length, things are getting kinda busy for me in law school. Yeah, super busy with law school. And if you want more of these videos, hit the subscribe button and the bell, because ringing bells are always fun, even if they can get kind of annoying. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button to help with the YouTube algorithm, and with that I wish you all a beautiful rest of your day.